Reason that there's an issue with black men is because they're literally being raised by the black women that hate them, okay?
Not every black woman will want to date black men for whatever reason. It could be that she's just not attracted to black men, or she's had her personal bad experience.
So first of all, I want to say that our black girls or black women in Europe should respect the black guys, okay? Respect your fellow African guys.
Now, if you don't like black men, I would assume that you would just not deal with them. And there are a group of black women called divestors. They don't like black men. They don't date black men. They date everybody else. But to be fair, the divestors, so they say, stay away. They dislike black men so much, they don't want anything to do with them. But then there are other groups of black women who still deal with black men and at the same time dislike them. A good example of this is Cynthia G. She hates on black men all day, but she can't stop getting pregnant by them.
Gotcha, bitch.
You're sleeping with him, but you won't make him a pleat. Make it make sense. Reason 15,125 as to why a lot of black women are not married is because you don't want to make a pleat. You can't make a plate for a man. You find it as an issue to make his plate. Like, why is that a problem? Why do y'all have problems with serving a man?
Now, what this young lady is saying is very important. You are sleeping with this particular black man, yet you show him a certain level of disdain. You don't have any hard time with sleeping with him, but you don't want to do anything for him. Like, why is it so hard that you can't honor or submit to your man? I could understand if it was a man that you just didn't like or a random man on the street, but this is a black man that you're in a relationship with or submitting to or sleeping with. He could even be your husband, but you feel like you shouldn't do anything for this black man. And guess what? It's just not in America where this is happening.
There was this guy, it was at a supermarket, actually. I was like at the parking place, trying to get in my car after I got through with my shopping, and this guy at the parking lot, okay? So this guy now saw this girl and was like trying to call her attention because I think he wanted to ask her for address or something or somewhere. Okay, he tried to call her, like she just turned around and started insulting him for no reason.
In this case, we have a lady who lives in Europe. And of course, there are a lot of Africans in certain parts of Europe. And she's explaining that African guy was trying to approach another African lady. And, she's saying address, but because she doesn't know English so well, he's probably was asking for the lady's phone number. All right. He's asking for, hey, I'm going to take you out on a date and all of this. But she said the lady got angry for no reason. But wait, there's more.
So even if she thinks that he doesn't want to ask for her address or whatever, that doesn't give her the right to insult him like that. He felt so embarrassed. And I had to go there and I was like, what's going on? What do you want? Like, can I help you? Can I be a help or something like that? He was like, I just want to ask for address or something like that. I'm not from here and stuff like that. I said, okay, I'm sorry for that act or whatever it is, but just, let it be. And she kept on ranting and ranting, insulting him. Like, what do you want from me? And leave me alone. I ain't going to talk to you. You are not my type. Like, hello. Is she for real? Like, that was so disrespectful, and it's not right. Ladies, you should stop this.
She says something important. Even if the lady didn't feel like she was attracted to the man, didn't give her the right to be disrespectful to the man. And this is something that she is seeing happening in Europe. Like, this is a big problem for her. She sees this all the time. And that's why she was a part of the intro of this video. Ladies, we gotta stop disrespecting our black men. Again, ladies, we gotta stop disrespecting our black men. But now, let's go back to America. In America, we live in fragmented households. A lot of the black young men and black young women grow up without a father. And it's evidently clear.
So it is no secret that fatherlessness is probably one of the biggest issues that's going on in the Black community right now. You can say that it's whatever, it is fatherlessness. We have so many young Black boys and young Black men that are growing up in fatherless households across the country. In fact, it has been so normalized to have a single parent Black woman reared Black household that people do not even know that that shouldn't be the standard.
Now, this is actually a pretty good point by the brother. He's talking about the fact that a lot of Black men or Black women do not see what a two-parent household is. So it's actually abnormal to see that. So they just see that basically what's happening here is the mom is raising the kid and there's no man. And so what's happening is that these women are raising their sons as if they hate them. Now, this is not every Black woman, right? But this can be inferred by young Black men who are raised by their mothers that their mom disliked them a lot. My dad himself felt that way about his own mother. Like, man, why does my mom dislike me? She never comes to my football game. She never really supports me, but the other kids she does support. The reality is that my dad's other siblings were by somebody else, okay? And my dad had his own father. So my grandmother had a certain type of relationship with her first husband, but with my dad's father, it was completely different. So he basically got treated poorly simply because the father was different. But wait, he adds on.
And the issue that's going on is a lot of these single Black women were done wrong by the Black men in their lives, whatever, they're single, they're not doing anything. And so now, since the Black men are out of the picture, since the father is out of the picture, now these young Black men are being raised by Black women who have disdain for Black men, who have disdain for the Black men that left them behind, and who takes the brunt of all of that anger and all of that pain? These young Black boys that they are raising.
So a lot of these Black women have, basically had bad experiences with Black men. And so a lot of these young Black men get disrespected because their mother has been hurt by Black men in the past. Could be your own father, right? And again, I could understand, and I'm not trying to say it's right. If you're a Black woman and your dad wasn't there, if you're a Black woman and your grandfather wasn't there, you've been abused by Black men, it could definitely make sense why you either don't trust Black men or why you have a hatred for Black men, because you haven't seen a positive Black role model in your life as a man. And to be honest, a lot of women go through this. This happens to them. All right. We're not going to sit here and say it doesn't happen. A lot of women don't have a positive role model in their life because of a mistake that their mother or father made. And so when they grow up, they have a certain level of disrespect for Black men. They learn this from their mothers, from their grandmothers, for their friends. Now you see it so, active in female hip hop. I mean, listen to Glorilla, F Jigga Free. So, hey, they sing along with these songs and it resonates them because to them, these Black men are what we say they are. And obviously you have your female content creators. I mentioned Cynthia G. Shira 7 doesn't specifically name Black men, but it can be inferred because she's Black and her husband is Black. Hey, a lot of the Black men out there are not worth dating. And so once you start hearing that and you start aligning with those particular values, it's easy to see why you don't like Black men. Okay. So if you don't disrespect Black men, you come from a broken home, broken situations, bad experience. I don't forgive it, but it's more understandable. But now, what if I were to tell you that even if certain Black women have their fathers in their life, I mean married fathers, would you believe that these Black women also don't respect Black men?
She might not have told you this, but my daughters do not respect men. So I'm letting you know that now, and I'm not joking when I tell you that, brother. And they have mouths when it comes to them getting into disagreements and engagements with men, and they will verbally put some lashings on you, brother, because they don't respect men. I'm just giving it to you forefront, brother, so you know what you're going in.
Now, this particular father is going viral all over X and all over social media. He's telling a young man that is about to date one of his daughters or go out on the date, my daughters don't respect Black men or men in general. They mouth off when they don't get their way. They're very disrespectful. The interesting part while he seemed to be very serious trying to warn this young man, the daughters in the background found it funny. They found it to be very hilarious. And the dad seems like he's being very serious, as if he's trying to help this young man. Now, I want to examine it from this perspective, because there are cases where you see a lack of respect for black men, even if the father is in the home. Now, let's assume that this is a black father. He's raised his kids. He's been supportive of his kids, okay? And then now, because of whatever position that he's in up in the home, the mother is disrespectful towards him. The daughters also have learned that black men, or men in general, are not important. And this is something else that men are picking up on. The question becomes, why should I become a father? Why should I become a leader of a family simply to be disrespected by the women in my household? It's a thankless task. Now, it was the argument at first against being a stepfather, okay? Because now we saw in the black community, a lot of guys in the 70s and 80s and 90s, black men were stepping up and taking care of other responsibilities, right? And we saw that with black coaches in the neighborhood, black men who taught boxing, or just black men who stepped in and raised other people's kids, right? And some of us benefited from that. And the argument was, at least 10 years ago, when I first came into the manosphere, was like, look, if I'm gonna deal, with somebody disrespecting me, I will at least deal with it from my own kids, right? I will put up with it from my own kids because they're biologically mine. I won't do it as a stepdad. But now what you're seeing in certain levels is, look, I am the father of these kids. I basically do take care of my kids. I have taken care of my daughters and my wives. In many ways, I feel that from the women in my family, I'm being disrespected. And not only am I disrespected, my daughters, even though they have seen me take care of them, even though they have seen me go to work, even though they have seen me do all of the things and sacrifices to protect them, they don't have any respect for men, or in this case, black men. And this is what happens. You see, a lot of women who come from married households in the black community, I can't prove this, but I'll make an assumption. There is an external pressure for a lot of women that come from good families to behave like the other ladies who may not have seen it. And in the black community, we don't operate top down. We operate down up. And so what that means is the people at the top who actually live really successful lives and fruitful lives and lives built on substance, they are not marketed well in black America. It's almost never been that for a long time, since the 50s or 60s or 70s, right? Now what is marketed, and I think the last time we could see that is the Cosby Show. Now what's marketed is the more disrespectful you are, the more dysfunctional you are, that's actually cool. And if you come to the continent of Africa, I mean, you will see that the people that get mimicked the most are the Sexy Reds, are the Cardi B, are the Nicki Minaj's, and this totally goes against many of the African cultures, especially if you go to Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Nigeria. The cultures are the opposite of what some of these young ladies are adopting. And so even the women that come from strong cultural backgrounds, married families, there is a pressure to be like the women who exhibit what you would call dysfunctional behavior, attitudes towards men. And in this case, black men. So even women, other places start picking it up. Even Dominican women, you see it all the time. You see, Dominican women, Colombian women, they start to try to behave at like some of the American black women, or who they think are American black women. And then their attitude is also altered towards their own men. And this happens quite often. And so now that the women who are coming from decent environments, it's almost like, hey, you're not really black, man, okay? If you are coming from a functional home with a functional father, you don't fit in. And a lot of those women don't fit in. So in order to fit in, they have to also participate in self-deprecating, dysfunctional behavior towards men, even though that is not what they saw, all right? They didn't see that growing up. Not to say their father was perfect, but if you had a man in the house, if you had a man that was being protective of you, if you had a man that loved you, if you had a grandfather, and then now you're being influenced by what you see on social media, and because the whole world disrespects men, well, what happens? Well, it's not going to be too much longer that black men are going to interact with women who just don't respect them. And the reality is that's where passport bros comes in. The reality is that's where all this stuff comes in. All right. And black men are just not going to put up with that if you don't have to. And so when you don't respect the men in your community, same thing for us as women, the guys are going to go someplace else where they're ultimately going to be respected. And then the conversation turns into, oh, well, why are you dating those white women? Let's talk about the European sister that was talking about what she saw at the store. She said an African guy was trying to talk to another African woman and he was insulted. So the next time he sees a black lady out there, what do you think he will think to himself? He will say, the last time I tried to approach a young lady, it didn't work out, but maybe I should put my effort into a white lady. And if he has a positive experience with a white lady, do you honestly believe that he would consider going back to a black lady? He would have no reason to do that because number one, he's scared of rejection. He's scared of being disrespected. He doesn't want to be insulted. And so, yeah, basically we've turned a person that would have been an advocate for black women or African women into a person that is now against African women or black women. And that's typically what you see. You see a man trying to get in where he fit in, and then something happens, and then he goes on to someplace else, and then once he sees what's over on the other side, he don't never come back. And then he's criticized because you didn't want to take the so-called quote-unquote punishment. Or, basically what happened with you is you can't handle a strong black woman. When the reality is that a man wants to handle a good situation, just like a woman. A woman wants to be in a healthy, good situation. And if black men cannot be in those situations, they just will not. And the number one way to turn off a man is to not respect him. It's the number one way. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea D. Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Make sure for all that you do, subscribe to the bell. We're out.